I thought I was talking to my brother at 3 a.m. Turns out it was actually a burglar. Originally posted by Never Ending Flowers.
To really understand the story, or maybe how it happened, I guess, you need to know a few things. I live in Belgium, and at the time of the events, around 2018, I lived at home with my parents, siblings, my older brother and sister, and my sweet dog. Looking back now, maybe my dog is a bit too sweet. Also important to note is that my family is all over the place. Everybody is always busy doing something. Everyone has a very different rhythm, and some days we live next to each other instead of with each other. So that is why, at the time, I didn't really know who was home and who wasn't. We do love each other.
So, in 2018, on a school night, I woke up to some noises in my room. I was confused and looked at my phone. It was around 3 a.m. You know that feeling when you wake up very abruptly and don't know if you're dreaming or awake? That was kind of how I felt. There's a street light right at my window, so even though the curtains were closed, I could still make out some silhouettes and figures.
As I had just woken up and wasn't really thinking, I thought the silhouette I saw in my room was my older brother. I was sleep drunk, as you could call it, and started asking him what he was doing. But he didn't really react. I saw him walking towards my jewelry, and I asked him again what he was doing. Again, my brother didn't respond. I was still laying in bed, and I began to feel angry because I had school the next day and had to get up early. And as you do with irritating siblings, I started to curse him out. "Yopa, get the F out of here, I have school tomorrow!" Yopa is the name of my brother, by the way. This time, he looked at me, but again, didn't say anything. He started to walk toward my handbag and started looking in it and taking things out. And at this point, I was just angry at my brother and finally got out of bed. Mind you, the lights are still off. I walked towards him and asked him again, "What the F are you doing? Get out!" And I physically started pushing him slightly towards the door. Then he spoke.
"Where is the money? Where is the money?"
In this very strange, almost fake accent. And seriously, I started laughing it off. I still thought it was my brother. "Okay, I don't know if you're drunk or just being an a-hole, but get out!" But this time, we were almost at the door. I was still pushing him. He left and I closed the door. Finally, I thought, as I went back to bed, but I started feeling unsettled. I got nervous and scared, and started really thinking it over. Didn't I smell cigarettes? Yopa doesn't smoke. Why would he act so strange? So just to be sure, I texted my brother, "Where are you?" His answer made my heart sink to my knees.
"I just left the gym. I'll be home in a minute." I immediately called him and frantically explained there was just someone in my room. I started crying as I was panicking and asked him what I should do. He said to call the police and to stay in my room. As the gym was really close to our home, my brother came home relatively fast. I was still upstairs on the phone with the police when I heard my brother yell a whole lot of curse words and "Get out!" At that point, I was in the upstairs hallway because my sister had woken up as well and was standing there too. My father had fallen asleep downstairs on the couch, so when he heard my brother scream, he immediately woke up and knew something was wrong. He went to the downstairs hallway and saw my brother chasing the intruder. At this point, they were already at the front door. My brother managed to take a backpack from the intruder, but sadly, he got away and fled. My brother did get a good look at him, though.
So, the police came, and I was actually in shock. All this time, my mother was asleep because she's on strong sleep medicine. She woke up during the chase when my sister and I were standing in the hallway. I was crying, and she came up to us. I frantically told her what had happened, and she said, "Ah, little one, that was a very bad dream." That's one of the things we still laugh about today.
While we were talking to the police, we had to describe the person. I told them exactly what had happened and how he looked. He had a hood on, so I didn't see his face, and when I was close, he always had his back turned to me. So I'm telling the police lady about his black pants and green hoodie. Then she abruptly stopped me to say,
"Green? Your brother said light gray."
That's the second time my heart dropped to my knees. There were two guys, not one. Both my brother and I were 100% sure about what we saw, so there had to have been two guys who broke into our house.
They took a few iPads, phones, and wallets, but luckily my brother took the backpack where there was a lot more valuable things that they didn't get away with. But the burglars were kind of stupid because we still had Find My on all of our Apple devices, and they were still running. A day later, when we saw the location, my brother jumped in his car with my father while on the phone with the police. Really, my brother is a badass. Going to the gym at night, he's in the military, chasing intruders through the house, etc. I wouldn't F with him. They waited for the police and then went in the house where the location of our devices was and found one guy. He was crying and covered in his own piss and puke.
They arrested him, and he confessed. He said he was high on drugs, and it was the first time he had ever done something like that. He was very panicky and crying the whole time. My brother recognized him as the intruder that he had chased. So that meant the guy who was in my room was still out there. The guy they arrested snitched on the other guy, but he was nowhere to be found.
We all kind of got on with our lives, but I was really scarred. I slept with my lights on for more than a year, and every time I would be awake past 3 a.m., I couldn't go to sleep anymore. The intruder they caught went to jail for a year. He was a first-time offender, and is now in a rehab program. He has sent us a letter or two, with our consent, of course, and we kind of feel bad for him. He was traumatized too.
But half a year ago, we heard that the second man was taken into custody. I was finally over it. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the beginning. But of course, I still got scared sometimes. But now, they finally caught the man that was in my room. What we found out was unsettling, to say the least. While the dude that pissed himself didn't have a record before this happened, the dude who was in my room was a very experienced criminal. He had multiple possession charges, theft, drunk driving, and worst of all, assault and attempted homicide.
The man I talked to, cursed out and pushed out of my room at 3 a.m., was dangerous, and I'm very happy to be alive.
So, criminal who broke into my room, I hope you and I never meet again. I would like to give a special thanks to my dear friend who helped me tell this story today. She does not have a channel as of yet, but please, if you are willing, in the comments, thank her for her performance. If you wish to have me tell a story of your own, send it directly to me. My email will be down in the description. And please, check out my gaming channel as well. I hope my telling of these tales has entertained you this night, as well as sent a shiver to run down your spine. Until next time, farewell.